our country, almost everything becomes misappropriated, objectified, stereotyped, and made for consumption. We've even done this to mindfulness. In many places, mindfulness has become such a fad, the cool new thing, and in many ways has been co-opted and turned into something it was never intended to be. Mindfulness is spiritual, physical, emotional, prophetic, and poetic.
Last year, Susan and I got to go to Westchester University to hear from the 3 co-founders of the Holistic Life Foundation, our speakers today. It was an in-service day for educators. We left that day having experienced one of the most life-affirming presentations we've ever seen. And we knew we wanted you, the community members and F&M, to meet our presenters. We felt that you need to know about their righteous work and how it could change your lives.
The Holistic Life Foundation serves 4,500 school children a week. There's 0 suspensions, detentions after students participate in their after-school programs. They serve in over 14 schools in the Baltimore area and have trained and employed over 30 students and teachers. These 3 individuals have broken the mold and have created something that embodies what it means to live a life of intersectionality. They not only talk the talk, but they walk the walk.
All 3 of our speakers founded the Holistic Life Foundation. Their work has been featured on Making a Difference on the NBC Nightly News, CNN, the CBS Morning Show, as well as in Mindful Magazine, Yoga Journal, and Shambhala Sun. They have been intentional about being present in underserved populations and in their own community. Through their work with high-risk youth in Baltimore City public schools, drug treatment centers, wellness centers, and colleges like ours, homeless shelters, retreat centers, and juvenile detention centers. Wherever they go, they have not only transformed individual lives, but whole communities and organizational systems.
Ali Smith currently serves as executive director. He is a native of Baltimore, Maryland, and graduate of the Friends School of Baltimore and the University of Maryland College Park, receiving a BS in environmental science and policy with a biodiversity specialization.
Atman Smith serves as director of youth programming, and he has been for the past 10 years, and currently serves as the director of fundraising. He's also co-founder and co-CEO of For the People Entertainment. A native of Baltimore, Atman attended the University of Maryland College Park, where he was a letter award winner for the university's basketball team. He's super psyched to be here today in this gym. He graduated with a PA in criminology and criminal justice. And last but not least, Andres Gonzalez serves as the marketing director for HLF. He has partnered with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Health and the Penn State's Prevention Research Center on a stress and relaxation study, and is a published author in the Journal of Children's Services. He holds a BS in marketing from the University of Maryland College Park and an MBA from the University of Maryland University College.
So this is our swan song to you. Join us at the Brooks College House for reception following the presentation.
Please give a warm, hospitable welcome to Ali, Atman, and Andy.
Hello, everyone. You having a great Thursday? Awesome. We're going to start off with a practice. This is a loving kindness practice. Just human nature and human nature, or human experience is just human nature to kind of worry about other people before you worry about yourself, love other people before you love yourself, serve other people before you serve yourself. And that's why a lot of people burn out, get depressed, and a lot of other negative things that follow, just not really serving yourself first. So this practice is really about loving yourself and serving yourself, which will make it easier to love and serve others. So I invite everyone to kind of move to the edge of your seat, have your feet on the ground, back, neck, and head aligned, and I invite you to close your eyes. And we're going to start off by taking a couple deep breaths together, all in and out through our nose. So everyone inhale long, slow, and deep through your nose, filling your stomach up with air like it's a balloon. And exhale, push all that air out, push it all out. Empty your stomach out. Inhale deep again, long, slow, deep breath. In through your nose, filling your stomach up with air. And exhale, push all that air out, push it all out. Inhale deep one more time. Remember, a long, slow, deep breath, filling your stomach up with air. And exhale, push all that air out, push it all out. Now you all can just breathe on your own at a nice, natural pace. Don't put any effort into it. Just make sure you're breathing in and out through your nose. And we're going to start using our imaginations. Every time we inhale, we want to feel and see ourselves pull all the positivity that the earth has to offer us inside our body with that breath. Really feel and see that happen on that inhale. And on the exhale, really feel and see yourself pushing any negative energy that's inside your body out with the breath, any stress, any anger, any jealousy, any soreness, any ailments, anything at all that you don't want in your body, really see and feel it leave your body with the breath. And doing meditation, it's just like life. There can be distractions. If you get distracted by a thought or a sound, it's cool. Don't beat yourself up. Just acknowledge what distracted you. Then bring yourself back to the breath. And remember, on that inhale, we're using our imagination to feel and see ourselves pull all the positivity from the earth into our body with the breath. And every exhale, pushing out any negativity that's inside of us that we want out, any stress, any anger, any jealousy, any sickness, any ailments, anything at all. Really use your imagination and see it leave your body with the breath. All right, we're going to use our imaginations again. And this time, with every inhale, we're going to feel and see ourselves pulling in all the healing oxygen from the trees, plants, and bodies of water. We're going to feel and see it come into our body and energize our muscles, bones, and organs. So really use your imagination to see and feel that happen. And every exhale, we're pushing out all the stale carbon dioxide that's in our body, and we're really feeling and seeing it feed the trees and plants that gave us oxygen. And the point of meditation is all about being able to extend the time that you can keep your mind focused. And if you find yourself only being able to focus for 3 breaths, then you get distracted, it's cool. Don't beat yourself up. Redirect yourself back to the breath after you acknowledge what distracted you. And then try to get 4 breaths, then 5 breaths. It's all about extending that time that you can keep your mind focused. And once again, on that inhale, we're feeling and seeing ourselves pulling in all the healing oxygen from the trees, plants, and bodies of water, energizing our muscles, bones, and organs. And every exhale, pushing out the stale carbon dioxide, feeding the trees and plants that gave us oxygen. All right, we're going to use our imaginations again. And this time, we're going to think about all those people that we love, whether it's our family or friends, no matter how far away they live, no matter if they're living or not. Love knows no boundaries. So with your breath, we're going to send our loved ones love with that breath. And if you get distracted by a thought or a sound while you're trying to do that, don't beat yourself up. Just acknowledge what your distraction was and then redirect yourself back to the breath. And remember, we're sending love to our loved ones with that breath, no matter how far away they live, no matter if they're living or not. Love knows no boundaries. So with your breath, send your loved ones love with that breath. All right, we're going to use our imaginations again. And this time, we're going to think about all those people that stress us out or make us angry, whether it's family or friends, teachers, students, people in your community. But we're going to be the bigger person and send those people love as well. Even though they're making you mad or angry, be the bigger person and send them love because they probably need it more than anyone else. And just know this is a great way to release any anger or stress that you have, is sending love to those people that stress you out or make you angry. So with our breath, really focus on sending love to those people that stress you out or make you angry. And y'all know this is just mind training. It's all about extending the time that you can keep your mind focused. So, if you can only stay focused for 3 breaths and get distracted, it's cool. Try to get 4 breaths, then 5 breaths. It's all about extending the time that you can keep your mind focused. And right now, we're focused on sending love to those people that stress us out or make us angry with our breath. All right, lastly and most importantly, we've sent love to people that we love. We've sent love to people that stress us out. Now it's time to send love to ourselves. Like I said at the beginning, it's human nature to love other people before we love ourselves, serve other people before we serve ourselves. That's what usually leads to burnout or depression. So if you have your battery charged with love, then you can love that much more. So with your breath, send yourself love with that breath. Really be selfish. Focus all your love on yourself, and you're sending it to yourself with your breath. And just remember, just like in life, when you try to meditate or do a silent reflection, you can get distracted by a thought or a sound. If you do, just acknowledge it, then bring yourself back to the breath and the most important of the practice, sending love to yourself. All right, everybody can keep their eyes closed, and we're going to slowly bring ourselves away from the breath and back to our bodies. So we can start off by wiggling our toes. You can wiggle your fingers. You can roll your ankles and wrists. And just do a neck roll both ways, just to stretch your neck out a little bit. And then you can slowly blink your eyes open and come back to your senses. And just know that there are lots of forms of meditation, silent reflection. This one just really helps, build self-confidence, self-love, and stuff like that. So, that's why it's one of our sticklers. Thank y'all. We done. We'll see y'all later. It's like, no, just joking.
It's still morning. Good morning, everybody. So we like to get into, just so you guys know who's who, I'm Ali.
I'm Andy.
I'm Atman.
Atman and I are brothers. You gotta look in the eyes to see it, like it's right in here. So we like to get into the story of how we got to be doing what we're doing and into the practice, contemplative practices, yoga, mindfulness, meditation, breath work, and all these things, because we found out maybe like 5 or 6 years ago that we don't look like most people who are teaching yoga and mindfulness. We had no clue. We were oblivious to this. We found out when we started going to retreat centers and people would ask us, we'd show up, backpacks on, ready to teach, and people were like, "Are you guys the band?" And everywhere we went, they asked if we were the band. And never had an instrument. I don't even play an instrument. Andy raps, so I guess that technically counts, but it happened so many times we actually started going with it. We would tell people that we were an Aboriginal folk band from Australia. Yep. I played the bull roar, Atman played the didgeridoo, and Andy was our lead vocalist. And they were like, "When do you guys perform? That's amazing." But despite the fact there was like a picture of us on the wall behind them saying that we were teaching and leading a meditation later that day. So we like to go into the backstory. Atman and I grew up in West Baltimore, right in the neighborhood where they filmed The Wire and where the Freddie Gray uprisings happened a little while back. Back then, when we grew up there, it was a lot different than it is now. This was pre-crack hitting the neighborhood real hard and all the violence and the other things that went along with it. And it was a big family. It's a community of people that lived together and loved each other and supported each other. There was a built-in mentoring system in our neighborhood where the older guys and girls in the neighborhood looked out for everyone there. So it was just like there were all these supports. Other people's parents would help you out or discipline you when you needed to be disciplined. And it was a beautiful place to grow up. Our upbringing was a lot different than all of our friends. All of our friends went to the local neighborhood public school. Actually, the public school where the lady, Carla Lillian Thompson from the video was, Robert W. Coleman Elementary School is where all of our friends went to school. Atman and I went to Friends School of Baltimore, a Quaker school, a little bit away from where we lived, but it was a different experience than a lot of our friends. I'd say the biggest glaring difference was the fact that our parents were yogis, and we were vegan too, which was even weirder because like now we would have been the cool kids, but back then, like in the 80s, nobody's doing yoga or being vegan. It was just kind of lame back then.
You got to tell them the snowball story. I love this story. I went to a public school, so I didn't have the same experience as them, but you got to hear this one. This
is still scarring to me and Atman to this day.
And y'all better not laugh.
There's like snowball stands all over the city in Baltimore. It's like an easy way for people to make money. They get a snowball stand, shaved ice stand, whatever you call it in your neighborhood, and you get the bright colors squirted onto your ice. And we would go out in the neighborhood, and our parents would let us get the ice, but we'd have to bring our snowballs back home, and they would pour like natural orange juice or apple juice on them. So our friends had these really bright colors, or ours would be like a dull orange or brown, and we walk back outside, and all of our friends would make fun of us because of that.
I always had the bright reds and blues and yellows, so it's funny to hear that that's what they went through.
As an adult, we have those, but as children, we could not enjoy the bright colors. We would, and our dad was like heavily into hatha yoga at that point, so like we would go downstairs to watch Saturday morning cartoons, and he'd be in the headstand in the middle of the living room. And it was just normal. There was a bar in our basement where there used to be parties that had been turned into like a meditation room and an altar. And every morning before school, our dad would wake us up and make us meditate before school. And it was just normal. We'd get up in the morning, we'd meditate, we'd have breakfast with Woody Woodpecker and Scooby-Doo in the morning, and that was our morning. But we didn't share it with anyone because we knew it was a lot weirder than none of our other friends were doing it, and we didn't want to be even weirder than the snowballs. So at Friends School, Quaker school, so there were a lot of the ideals that our parents kind of really pushed for us as far as stewardship, as far as celebrating diversity, but also seeing the commonality in all people. Taking a moment to pause before you do anything and reflect. So there were a lot of things that they really loved that we were kind of being reinforced at Friends. There was also a meeting for worship at Friends where we'd sit, and it was kind of a mindfulness practice unto itself. We grew up in a church. Anybody in here read Autobiography of a Yogi by chance? So we grew up in a self-realization fellowship church.
You should read it if you haven't read it. It's a great
amazing book. So the church that we went to started with a meditation. Sunday school or church started with a meditation. It was all about the commonality and the union in all religions. And he would look for those underlying truths so the guy that ran the service might speak from. I guess he always started from the Bible because that was where he felt like he could reach most people. So he would read from there, the Bhagavad Gita, Native American spirituality, the Torah, the Quran, any book he could find just to show that it was all the same stuff. And it was the same thing that everyone was teaching. It's just packaged a little differently. Then I remember a weird thing going to our grandparents' church, like Southern Baptist Church, church that you go to and you're there all day. Like you get there at like 8 in the morning, you're there till like dinner time. And our church was like an hour and a half long. And I remember just the weird experience of like them starting church and there wasn't a meditation at the beginning. Me and my brother were like elbowing each other, like, what's wrong with this church? They don't meditate. Like, what's going on here? So it was just that was our experience. Our parents got divorced and we got out of all of those practices just because it was a little harder for them to hold down the household and push for morning meditation and all these other things. So, I mean, I guess we were still at Friends School, so it was kind of reinforced, but it just wasn't as a major part of our life after they split up. We met Andy in college at the University of Maryland Meditation Society. And it was, no, we didn't. We met Andy at house parties and bars. We would always see him there. We would see him hanging out, and actually I feel like we saw him in a lot of like, we had a lot of friends. Atman and I don't rap and can't rap and wouldn't pretend to be able to rap, but Andy's a really good rapper, and we would see him. We had a lot of friends that did, and we would see him at the bars and the house parties, and like they would have like freestyle ciphers going on, and we would see him there all the time. And then we started talking, and we saw the world very similarly. It seemed like there was a lot of suffering going on. There were a lot of people that didn't seem to care about it. And it didn't really seem like anybody was doing anything about it. It was just like all the suffering's going on, but it's okay. Let's just let it go on. And somehow, we still haven't figured out how, but our partying turned into a book club, like literally turned into a book club. We would go to all the small libraries on campus and get big, huge stacks of books on like spirituality and religion and philosophy, ancient history,
Creational theory.
yeah, astronomy, astrology, like anything we get our hands on, we would just sit and we would watch documentaries and read. And our friends would come check on us. They'd be like, what are you guys doing? Like, what is it? You guys aren't going out tonight? We're like, nah, we got this awesome book. You guys would stay with us. They're like, nah, we're going to pass on that one. So we were sitting around reading all the time because we had all these questions and we weren't really getting the answers that we were looking for. And everything we read made us ask more questions and we still weren't getting the right answers. And so we kept searching. And around this time, we started hanging out again really heavily with me and Atman's godfather, our dad's best friend. And he was one of those people that got into yoga in like the late 60s and never ever got out of it. We always tease him and say he's like Yoda. He was like in the swamp waiting for some students and we like showed up like Luke Skywalker, like teach us. And so we went to him and we said we wanted to learn some yoga. And it was something that, it was funny because he had tried to introduce it to us in the past because we would like go hang with him and drink beer and watch football. And he would do stuff like in the middle of us like drinking beer, watching football. He'd be like, you guys know that after you get home, you can clean all the toxins out of your bloodstream by doing the breath of fire, Kapalabhati, and he'd start doing this.
In the middle of us drinking and watching football, he would do this. And
so
at
me
that
and
time, we weren't ready. We would just stand up and leave.
Yeah, we had to get out of there because it was weird. So I mean, it was still what we wanted. I mean, but I guess we weren't really ready for the message he had to deliver us at the time. So yeah, we would leave. But we went back to him. We said we wanted to learn. And he was like, okay, I got two stipulations. One, you guys got to agree to be at my house at 4 a.m. tomorrow so we can start. And two, you guys got to promise me that you'll be teachers. Like I'm not teaching you just so you can go hold on to these practices. You guys got to share them with as many people as possible. So we were like, okay, cool, no problem. And I remember we showed up that next morning, like a little bit before 4, knocked on his door. And it was, we didn't see any lights on the inside. I remember a light came on. He opened up the door with a big smile on his face. He was like, come on. So we went to, anybody in here from Baltimore know Lake Montebello, beautiful reservoir, pine trees. You can see the sunrise over the reservoir in the morning. So we'd start at 4, and by the time the sun was coming up, we'd be done for the day. And so we kind of, yeah, that was our thing. We really wanted to learn more about this practice. It was like we were searching for all these answers, but I think we realized that the answers were somewhere inside of us. We just needed to learn how to tap into them, and we felt like these combination of practices was what was going to help us tap into it and come up with these answers.
Yeah,
we're always in there.
When we were searching for like the answer, it was really like one of those things. That the reason why I guess we gravitated towards yoga, just because it kind of, we were wild as I don't know what in college, and then we saw how these practices kind of strengthened us mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and we're like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, so we had our practice, we loved it. Andy and I graduated. Atman still had like another semester to go, and I remember we were sitting around reading again, and we were in Atman's living room, and the dude, the adults in here probably remember Matthew Lesko. You guys remember Matthew Lesko, the guy with the question marks on his lab coat? And be like, let the government pay for you to write a book or start a business. He's not on TV anymore, but we saw that guy, and our genius idea was that we were going to let the government give us grants to save the world. And I remember Atman had this huge printer that was probably like this big. This is old school, like, and where it would take like 5 minutes to print one page printer. And we went to Ask Jeeves because Google wasn't even around then. Like, this is that long ago. That's, if you all even believe that. Went to Ask Jeeves and looked up grants. We found a grant. We started filling out, and we realized the government doesn't give hundreds of thousands of dollars to 3 college kids that like doing yoga and want to save the world. So we kind of scrapped that idea. We moved back to Baltimore, and it kind of crushed us because we moved back into our neighborhood, and it was a shell of itself. Crack kind of devastated everything. And instead of that loving neighborhood that we knew, there were individuals just trying to survive. The long-term homeowners had kind of moved out, and they were like transient families that would kind of move in and move out, and move in and move out. Gangs were moving in, so it was like there was a lot going on there, and it just kind of, it really crushed our spirit. It was like we remembered the neighborhood being one way, and we knew we wanted to do something about it. We weren't sure what, so we kind of lived like, I still need to come up with a better word. We lived like hermits, but there were 3 of us, so we couldn't really live like hermits if there were 3 of us, but we were, if there's a word for 3 hermits, then that's what we were. We didn't really go out or do anything. We kind of spent all of our time in practice. We would get up in the morning. We would either go practice with our teacher or practice on our own. We would meet up in the living room. talk about the books we were reading, dreams we were having, things we wanted to do, questions for each other, sharing about our practice or questions about our practice. We go about our day, and then we would probably do some breath work in the evening, meditate at night, and then turn in early and do it all over again. And we did this for a long time. And then I'd say we decided, like, okay, well, so let's go back to that Matthew Lesko idea. Let's figure out how to get grants. So we decided we were going to start a nonprofit. We had no idea what a nonprofit was, but we knew you needed one to get grants. So again, back to Ask Jeeves, and we typed in how to start a nonprofit in Maryland, printed up a checklist, and started going down the list. And we checked off all the things, and we had our nonprofit. And I remember one of the first things we did was come up with a name. And there was this giant thesaurus that was like this big sitting in our office that we were using. And we were looking up words, and we came up with the word holistic. That was in there. We were like, hey, we're going to help everything. Life we used, and then I remember we threw foundation on the end because we thought all nonprofits ended with the word foundation. So we were going to be the Holistic Life Foundation. Which is silly because now people, like organizations, email us for grants because foundation's in our name, but we have to email them back and let them know that we just didn't know any better at the time when we named our organization. So we had our deep practice. We had a nonprofit, but we didn't really have anything going on. And then there was an opportunity. Our mom taught like a social emotional learning program, the PATHS program, promoting alternative thinking strategies program at an elementary school. The principal saw us every day, and she was like, hey, you guys want to coach football or something? And we were like, well, we would like to work with some kids, but can we do like an after-school yoga program? And she was like, well, I don't care what you guys do. If you guys are going to take the group of kids that I have for you, you guys can do whatever you want. And she shoved us in the back of the basement of the school, and we started teaching. The first thing we started off with was the breath.
So that's what we want to teach y'all today is the breath. It seems very basic, but this is where we start with every single one of our classes all the time. So I'm just going to teach you all how to breathe today, all right? And you seem to be doing a good job because all of you are alive in front of me, so keep it up, all right? Keep up that good work. But we noticed as we traveled around the nation, around the world, that a lot of people were breathing improperly. So we're just going to go over the proper way to take a breath. And you're going to find how important this is throughout your lives because as you start being really mindful of your breath and aware of the triggers that cause you to get into more heightened states, whether it's stressed out or angry or frustrated, you'll notice your breath. You'll notice a difference in your breath. So what we're going to show you today is just kind of how to breathe the correct way and also just to let you know to be really aware of your breath and how powerful it really is. So if you look at infants breathe perfectly. They always breathe in and out of their nose. When they inhale, belly rises. When they exhale, their belly falls. Even if it's a clogged nose baby, I'm sure you've seen the snot bubble before. Have you all seen that? The little bubble that the baby has when it's breathing? No matter what, clogged. Ali always laughs because I make the bubble like
he makes this big bubble. That bubble will be bigger than the baby's head if they had a snot bubble that big.
But you've seen it before, so no matter what, always in and out of the nose. We don't know what it is, but as we get older, we start breathing like animals. It's a mouth breath. It's a panting. It's a very shallow. We're not getting nearly as much oxygen as we need to get inside of our bodies. So we want to make sure all the breathing we do is in and out of our noses, okay? And the benefits of this is our nose is three main things. Our nose is a heater, it's a filter, and it's a humidifier. So you have nose hairs in your nose, that's that filtration system. So there's dust and dander and germs and that microscopic stuff that we can't see right now floating around. When we breathe in, all that sticks on our nose hairs so it doesn't go into our body. When we breathe out, you want to push it out your nose as well so it pushes that stuff off your nose hairs. So that's your filtration system. Your heating system is your nasal passage is lined with the mucous membrane, and that warms the air up when it comes into your body. It's very important. It's getting cold outside, so if you are a mouth breather and you're breathing in and out your mouth all day, this might happen to you. Step outside when it's cold, you breathe in and out your mouth, and you get that shock to your bronchs. I don't know if y'all have ever had that, like that feeling when you're like wheezing when you step outside. It's because you're not warming that air up before it's coming into your body. Your nose will do that for you. It'll warm the air up when you're stepping outside. And then lastly, that humidifying system is just the glands here in your face that make the moisture for your tears. That moisture is like a humidifier. So you get all that from breathing in and out of your nose, okay? Very important. This was mind-blowing to me when we got out of college because they never taught us any of this stuff. And then I got my master's degree, and they still never taught me how to breathe. And I always thought that was kind of important. So, and I think it's funny, too, because whenever we teach this, everyone in the crowd now, all of y'all are breathing in and out your nose is looking at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'll breathe like this all the time. So you will catch yourself throughout the day, breathing in and out your mouth every once in a while. Again, just be aware of it, be mindful of it.
And y'all know those times when like y'all on college campus, so like maybe a sickness will go through and everybody will get like the flu or something like that. If y'all are mouth breathers, yeah, y'all be susceptible to be getting sick. But if y'all breathe in and out through your nose, that will make sure that you won't get sick because you're filtering out all those germs that cause people to get sick.
And just to give you an idea of what's really going on when you're difference between a mouth breather and a nasal breather and really using your full diaphragm is your heart and your lungs are connected to each other. So basically your heart's just pumping your blood throughout your body. It's circulating. If you're taking nice long deep breaths, which all of y'all will be taking after today, then ideally what happens is all that oxygen hits your blood when it's in your heart and it cleans it. And they say that your blood leaves your heart like a pristine mountain stream. Circulates throughout your body. Deposits all that oxygen, distributes it wherever it's got to go, picks up any impurities, comes back to your heart. They say by the time your blood gets back to your heart, it's like sewer water. It's dirty again. But then it gets back in your heart, nice long deep breaths, oxygen hits it, cleans it up, and the process starts over again. But you can imagine if you're panting all day long, that's barely any breath compared to a nice long deep breath. I'll just give you a slow one so y'all get an idea of it. Something like this where you take a nice long
He's got 4 lungs, y'all.
I can keep going, but you can imagine how much longer that little bit was compared to so how much more oxygen I'm bringing into my body, which means I'm cleaning that much more up with my blood. Not only is it important to clean your blood, but it's also good, it's helping you with digestion, okay? So you want to make sure nice, long, full, deep breaths. And your exhale is equally as important when you're doing this because your exhale is related to those ruminating thoughts in your mind. Those are those thoughts that aren't allowing you to be in the present moment. When you're being mindful, it's a big part of what we're talking about is being in this now moment. And a lot of times we'll be sitting here or in a classroom, say you're in a math class and you're listening to your teacher and they're teaching you whatever it is, and you're thinking about everything but what the teacher's telling you. Did I lock my door? Did I turn off the heater? I got this homework assignment I got to do. I got to make lunch. I got to go home, take care of the kids. I got to babysit. I got to go to work. And all these things are throwing you every which way except for in this now, in this present moment. And your exhale is connected to those thoughts. So when you exhale, it's removing those thoughts so you are allowed to be in that present moment with whatever you're doing and allow you to achieve at a higher level with whatever it is you're doing. So now, one last thing that we want to make sure you're doing, this is called the belly breath. Oh, okay, I can do that one too. Yeah, I got you. So it's just time. We're in crunch time here. So the thing with the belly breath that I really want y'all to focus on here is to make sure you're really using your belly when you breathe. So a lot of times when we go around and we see people and they say, take a deep breath, they do what we call the Superman breath. I'm going to stand up so you can see it. It looks like this. I'll say, take a deep breath, and people go, you see that? That was very short and shallow, and see how I look like I took a deep breath, right? So I got the Superman look, but that's the exact opposite of the way we want to breathe, because when I breathed in like that, my stomach went in. You want to make sure, just like an infant, when we breathe in, your stomach goes out. You heard Atman saying in his meditation, he's like, breathe in and fill your belly with air. Again, we know that your belly is not actually filling with air. That's a good visualization for you to use to imagine. Just like a balloon, when you fill a balloon with air, it gets bigger. The same thing when you're filling your body. Imagine your belly is that balloon, and it gets bigger, because our lungs are shaped like teardrops. So when we're doing that Superman breath, where we're going top heavy, we're only using 10% of our lung capacity. So when we're manipulating our diaphragm and using our belly, it's going to allow us to pull in a lot more air. And it's going to bring in more oxygen to clean your blood and to help with the digestion. So real briefly, I'm going to try to do the autonomic nervous system for you, Ali, real quick. So the autonomic nervous system is extremely important because what happens is most of the time, people are in stress mode. They're in that stress state. Back in the day, you're in the woods and you see a bear or a tiger, and your body, the autonomic nervous system, immediately triggers the sympathetic part of that system. And it does things to you. It makes you fight or flight. So what happens? Your pupils dilate. Your heart rate increases. You start breathing in and out of your mouth. Cortisol is released. Adrenaline is released. And your body's telling you, okay, I'm either going to fight this thing here or I'm going to run for my life. Even the blood rushes to your inner organs. So if you decide to fear or fight, that if you got scratched, you wouldn't bleed as much. So you're in survival mode. And that's great for certain times, you know what I mean? Especially for people in the service fields too, like soldiers or firemen or police officers. For a brief moment, that stress response is great. But the problem with most people nowadays is they're bringing that bear, that tiger, home with them. They're carrying with them all the time. And they're not going back to that resting, relaxed state, which is the ideal way we want to be. And these breathing exercises, breathing like the way I'm telling you, this is what's triggering you, it's pushing you back from that sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. So you're not bringing that tiger home with you anymore, and you're able to get in that resting state, and you're in control. I think the reason we teach this breath always, and it's the first thing we do, is because we show people that you are in charge. You can regulate yourself. I don't know how many times that I've broken two little kids up and told them to put their hands on their heart, and they feel this. And I say, do your breath, and this turns to this, and then the little kid looks at me, his eyes get all big, I swear I see a little light bulb, boom, and he's like, thank you, Mr. Andy. And I always say to him, don't thank me, I didn't do anything. You did it. You're in control. And your breath you carry with you all the time. It's always with you. So it's a great tool for y'all to use whenever and wherever you are, in whatever situation it is. So let's take a deep breath together, all right? All right, so just get in a comfortable position. Ideally, your head, neck, and spine align. Atman mentioned you can get on the edge of your seat if you like to. Sometimes that helps you prop your spine up. Feet grounded on the floor. And I'm going to welcome you to close your eyes. If you feel comfortable doing so, you're welcome to. You don't have to. And what we're going to do is we're going to place our hands on our bellies. All right? So what you're going to do is you're going to inhale nice and deep and push your belly out. Push it out as far as you can, like it's a balloon filling up with air. Leave your hand there. Exhale and try to pull your belly away from your hand, creating space between your hand and your belly. Inhale deep. Poke your belly back out again so it's reaching your hand. Exhale and pull your belly away from your hand. Imagine that your belly button is trying to touch your spine. Inhale deep, poking that belly back out to your hand. See and feel that healing oxygen coming in. Exhale, pull your belly away from your hand and see and feel all that stale CO2 leaving out, all those thoughts getting out your body and your mind. Inhale deep. Exhale it all out. Really overemphasize the breath, nice, slow, deep breaths. Inhale again, poking your belly out towards your hand. Exhale it all out. Feel your body slowing, your mind slowing with each breath. Inhale deep. Exhale it all out. We'll do 3 more together. Inhale nice and deep. Exhale it out. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale deep. Exhale it all out. Before you open your eyes, just take 3 deep breaths on your own. We like to call this an internal assessment. Here, you're being a scientist. You're seeing, how does my mind feel? How does my body feel? And you know, if you want to feel this way again, all you have to do is take a few deep breaths. So when you finish, I invite you to slowly blink your eyes open again and come to your senses.
I know that might seem very elementary, but it's the foundation of everything that we teach. If you think about it, your life starts with your first breath and ends with your last, so the breath must be important.
And I probably would advise you all not to walk around all day with your hand on your belly because you're going to look like goofballs, but it's a good practice to start just the manipulation of your diaphragm. Get used to it. Try it at home. It may feel awkward. I'm sure if we asked, I'm sure there's someone in the crowd that's like, my body don't work like that. It's understandable a lot of times since you're so used to training your body to do that top-heavy Superman breath that it may feel a little awkward at first to really manipulate your diaphragm. So on the inhale, your belly gets big, and on the exhale, you're sucking it in. But just get used to it. And as you do, you're going to be amazed as to your lung capacity and the difference it makes with your whole mental state.
Yeah, so hopefully y'all take away, the benefit from the breath, that it really helps you all get rid of those ruminating thoughts. Because honestly, that can kind of lead you from being in that present moment or take you away from being in that present moment. So, just remember that anytime you find yourself allowing someone to rent space in your mind, just do like a 1-to-2 ratio inhale to exhale and really focus on that exhale, and that'll kind of kick those people that are renting space in your mind out. And then one more benefit of the exhale is when you really squeeze your belly button to your spine, you tone up your abs, and get it right, get it tight.
We definitely want to open up for questions, but just a couple quick things about us and our journey, and from where we started to where we are now. When we first started, we were dead broke college graduates who decided we were going to just focus on doing the work, and that's what we did. Like, we volunteered doing this work for probably the better part of like 8 or 9 years, where we would just work like 60 hours during the week and then go work on the weekends to kind of keep the lights on and food on the table and all that kind of stuff. I remember like the highlight of our week was like free samples day at Whole Foods on Tuesdays. Like, that was like, we were looking forward to that. Like, they got to know us so well that like they would like fix us an entire plate and talk to us about what we were doing.
We would just do laps around Whole Foods. It was awesome.
So we going from there. We found the 1440 Foundation, a foundation out of California, really talked to us about like just energetic exchange and explain like strategic planning and business planning in yogic terms, which was pretty cool because that's what we spoke. And all about the fact that we were going to burn ourselves out and it wasn't going to be sustainable if we just gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. But we also had to figure out a way to kind of get resources back in so we can expand what we wanted to do, because we were serving about 160 kids a week when it was the three of us doing everything. And now, just in Baltimore City Public Schools alone, that number's gone up even more to about 5,000 kids a week. And then we serve, I guess it's like 28 schools in Baltimore County, the surrounding counties of Baltimore. And then we also serve the private schools in Baltimore. We travel a lot to do work. And none of that would have happened if we just stuck on that same trajectory. Like, we really had to take a step back and look at what we were doing and how we were going to make it grow. Because this was our passion. And we were kind of resentful of it at first, that we were helping all these people and we didn't get to teach. But when we look at the numbers, like when we were doing all the work, 160 kids, us in the office supporting everyone, we're serving like 5,000 kids just in Baltimore City Public Schools alone. So that was one of the things that we had to do, was look at things big picture. And there were a lot of people when we started, we were broke, that would tell us like, you guys have degrees, why don't you guys go get real jobs? Like, what is wrong with you all? But this is what we were passionate about. This is what we wanted to do. And we knew that if we stuck with it, eventually it would kind of take care of itself. There were definitely points where like people would look at us strange, because it was like kind of the universe was taking care of us. Like, things we needed would just kind of pop up. But we were just doing good work, and we loved what we did, and we weren't going to let anything stop us. So we just continued with it no matter what anyone said. And then I think that one of our other biggest struggles was getting the practice out into the community and in people's homes. We have these kids we were working with. They'd be all calm and relaxed. They go home. The parents would come home stressed out, and stress is going downhill. They curse their kids out and start screaming and yelling at them. We'd have whole parent workshops for gift cards, food, childcare, everything. No one would show up. But one of our big things is reciprocal teaching. Like, we teach the kids to be teachers, so they'll come up and help us lead. If you come to after school program, you'll see pre-K kids leading fifth graders through breathing exercises and meditations and postures and mindfulness practices. And that was how the practice got home. The kids would come home, their parents would start yelling at them. They'd be like, Mom, could you sit down and let me breathe with you? Let me teach you how to meditate. And it worked like a charm. Like, the parents would come back to us and be like, I didn't even know this is what you guys were doing. I thought yoga was all about stretching. I didn't know you guys were learning how to breathe and how to meditate and all these cool things. So the reciprocal teaching is how we're making the biggest impact. We do have a nice staff right now. Like, our staff is awesome. And a lot of them are former students of ours that are growing into be young adults and they're teachers for us. But I think the biggest impact that we make is turning every kid that we work with into a teacher, so they can share it with their parents, their friends, their family. So that's how you make those big, huge changes in families and in communities. Thank y'all.
Hi, I'm Lucero Cordero. I'm a senior here and a neuroscience major. I just want to say that I love this, and I really relate to you. My parents met through yoga, and I grew up doing yoga and was a vegetarian too. And I totally get you. Other people didn't get it because they thought it was weird. So I totally get it. My question is, what kind of services do you guys provide for special needs children, like people on the spectrum, other learning disabilities?
It's a lot of the same practices. You're just taught in a little different way. No matter who we teach, it's the same things. It's just the presentation of them is a little different. Like, whether it's pre-K kids or high school kids on the spectrum, kids with special needs, whether it's adults in drug treatment, it's the same basic practices, but it's just ways that mean something for them and that they're going to accept them. Like we're all about meeting people where they are and giving them the tools that they can use to just live happier, more peaceful, inwardly and outwardly lives. So.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Hafiz. I'm a public health major here at F&M. So thank you guys for coming and sharing your insight and techniques on mindfulness. I thought it was really interesting. Okay, so as a Muslim student here at F&M, I and other Muslim students have felt for a long time that we do not have a spiritual guide or a mentor here for Muslim students. And as Muslims, a big way that we attain mindfulness and ease is through our faith, and such as through our 5 daily prayers and through having a faith community. So as such, I'm wondering if you could please speak on why it's so important for college, especially for college students who are marginalized because of their faith, to have these resources readily available on college campuses.
Great question. Honestly, I feel like when we were college is stressful. Honestly, I feel like college is stressful. It's a very confusing time. You're trying to figure out a lot. There's a lot of transitions between going from a college student into real life. And I know one of the happiest points in our college career was when we really did get in touch with our spiritual base. So I think anything that can be done to support that, and whatever your spiritual practice is, should be done. I mean, even if you got to seek somebody out or whatever. I mean, I think that was when things started to make sense for us in a way that it didn't before, because we were just kind of fumbling through, trying to figure things out on, I guess, in a physical and mental way, and not anything deeper. But when you connect with that something deeper inside of you, that's when things start to make sense and you feel a lot more grounded and a lot more comfortable in your skin and confident and clear. And I feel like your path lights up when you're able to kind of still it all and listen, and you see where you're supposed to be headed. And I say any support that can be given to that, it should be done.
Yeah, just to build on that, I believe that especially those years when you are in college, it is a time where you start, for us, we were philosophizing more and just questioning and going inward. And I don't think if I had these two, that I would have been the person that I am today. I think that I could have been like the majority of people I think that are in college, and they may have questions that need to be answered, and if they don't have a center or a place to go to where there is a community where you can speak and bring up these ideas, that it can be very detrimental to students. So any way that you could have something, create a space where people can feel comfortable coming to and sharing and speaking, I think it'd be monumental.
Yeah, I remember for a long time, the three of us were the only people we would talk to about our spiritual ideals or practices or something. We would only talk with each other. Now I feel like there are a few more of our friends that are getting it and starting to ask questions so we can share it with more people. But I think having someone to talk to was what kind of got us through and gave us that support. I mean, we weren't in it alone. We had someone we can share with, and kind of they could share with us, and we could kind of exchange energy and ideas, and that's totally important with the whole inner journey.
And we're readily accessible, so if you ever have any questions, reach out to us. Our information's on our website.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm a junior. I'm a dance major. I was just really taken aback by a bunch of kids getting excited about tree poses. That's amazing. And I was a lot of time in mindfulness. We talk about marketing and how you have to market mindfulness. I was just wondering about your approach to working with children and how you get them so quickly on board with such a deep mindfulness practice.
If they don't do the exercises, we just get Ali to shake them. No, I'm just
Keep a straight face.
basically, similar to Ali touched on it, I'm sure Atman did too, is we just try to make it extremely practical for them and relatable to their lives and their age group and what they're doing. And most of all, we make it fun. You really got to make sure they're having a good time. So like you said, you saw when we said tree pose, there was excitement in them. They're like, yeah, let's do it. So sometimes we might add a little competition, who can hold it the longest, just friendly competition and stuff like that, or whatever it is. Just, you have to be authentic and genuine as a practitioner yourself, so that they can see that you do the practice. So you're speaking from a place where, hey, I did this and this transformed my life, and I want you to have this. And then make it a good time, make it fun. Show them how so many of their role models right now in society, you can use the internet, are doing. I don't know how many times the kid said, I don't want to do this. This yoga stuff is lame. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? He said, I want to be a basketball player. And I'll be like, well, who's your favorite basketball player? And usually they'll be like, LeBron James. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I'll type LeBron James yoga in Google and show them a picture of LeBron James doing yoga, and the kid will be like, So really just, talk to them like they're on the same level as you, be authentic, make it fun, be yourself, and really come from a place of love. Show them that the reason you're doing this is because, you're showing them because you did it yourself, and you want them to experience the same thing you did.
Thank you.
My name is Brian Lack. I'm a first year from Philadelphia. And I'm currently taking a class that kind of studies the reputation that public schools have and how there's this stigma that public schools are infested with troubled students. And knowing that you guys, going around to different schools and, the schools giving you the worst of the bunch and, the most troubled students, I was wondering if you could speak to what, the term troubled students really mean and how that can be sometimes misleading and misguiding, because a lot of those students, when they fall under that term, a lot of administration feel like they don't deserve resources like what you guys are offering. So I was wondering if you guys could speak to that.
I mean, the kids are traumatized and they're hurt. You know what I mean? Like they're literally traumatized. Like there's certain parts of their brain that aren't functioning properly because their brains are in survival mode. So like a lot of the things that they're seeing, people are seeing as behavior issues, aren't behavior issues at all. And like they're hurt because like they live in a situation where they feel helpless, like and hopeless. Like there's just like a certain sense of like, this is my reality. Like I see these cool things on TV, I see all this stuff, and this is my reality. This is what I've been given. Like I can't, like I'm go to school hungry every day. My clothes are dirty. Like there's all these things going on. Like kids want to be happy. Kids want to have fun. Like they're children at the, like they're not like they're in troubled environments, but they're not troubled kids. Like it's amazing some of the like if you look online, there's a TEDx talk that we did down in Charlottesville, and there's a young lady that's in the video with us, and she was one of those kids that they would have called troubled. But I mean, once she got into her practice and became comfortable with who she was and knew that she had certain people around her as a support, she's flourishing now. Like she's a freshman in high school, all A's and B's, like calm, very centered person, and is probably going to be one of our best students to become a teacher when she gets older. And it's not that she's troubled, it's just that like she was traumatized. She had a lot going on, and there weren't a lot of supports that she saw. And to this day, like in her life, some people that should be around her and support her, like they may not have those skills or those tools to be able to give to her. So, yeah, I mean, they're just hurt, I think.
I mean, just to reiterate what he said, I think it's not troubled, it's just more underserved. That's one of the things that Ali and I noticed going to a friend's private school, and then all of our homies going to the local school that we're working at now, the disparity in the educational system, how we got new textbooks every year, computer labs and all that stuff, setting you up for success. But then, when you're in the hood and you're in that underserved community where they have troubled kids, that's the reason why. Like, they aren't getting pushed. Like, when we're helping kids out with homework, they're like, do the exact same homework with maybe like one or two things changed, and it's like not pushing them at all. So, I think it's more of an underserved thing than a troubled thing. And then, if you like go to their homes and see the home situations where, like we've had kids where we've took them Thanksgiving dinner and they have no furniture in their house, they have no utensils, they have no food in the refrigerator. Like, imagine going to school hungry or cold, or you'd be irritable, you know what I mean? That's why you act out sometimes. And something that Ali was talking about, like, because they are dealing with that trauma, sometimes their vagus nerve is not active, which connects your mind and your body. And it's really one of those things, like sometimes kids just do things without thinking, and you ask them why you do that. They be like, I don't know. Like, that's real stuff, you know what I mean? And it's like more just underserved and, dealing with undiagnosed trauma than trouble.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We've come to the end of our hour, but not to the end of the lesson. So join in the reception at Brooks College House. Let's thank our speakers.